crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I'm here with the Newton's Nook Designs April release. The first stamp set from the release is called Winston's Honeybees, and it is a new 4x4 stamp size. It's a new size for Newton's Nook. It's a little bit smaller, but it has plenty of images and sentiments packed in there and allows you to get a little bit more than those 2x3 sets. So for today's project, I'm going to be doing a lip balm holder or a chapstick kind of holder, and I found this honey chapstick and I thought it would be fun to create a little punny sort of themed present with it. And so I'm going to show you the measurements twice, but basically I am starting with a 3" by 6.5" rectangle. I am scoring the short side at 1 inch, 2 inches, and 3 inches. Then I'm scoring the long side at 1.5 inches, but stopping when I get to that 3-inch score line. And then I will cut out that 1.5 by 3-inch rectangle that was made by the scoring, and I can then fold that up, slip in the chapstick, and adhere it down. So once again, I am showing you the brand new piece here on my Martha Stewart mini scoreboard and a Teflon bone folder. I score at 1, 2, and 3, as you saw there. Now I'm scoring at the 1.5, but dragging it only down to that 3-inch mark where I stopped my other scoring. So then it creates 2 triangles, and I'm just trimming out one of them. So you see there as I fold it back where I'm going to do my trimming, and then it will basically leave me an area for some stamping and adding of Winston, but also fold up and put in that chapstick there. Now, if you have a different size lip balm, you probably will need to adjust your measurements a little bit. Maybe 1 inch is too big and your lip balm will fall out. I didn't even bother to make a bottom here because if you wrap it tightly enough, you won't have to. And so that's my recommendation. That's a little bit easier to do because you could just make those score marks a little bit closer together and fit a smaller chapstick in there. Also, I recommend using a really strong adhesive because it is going to be holding down the product there, which does have a little bit of weight to it, and you don't want it to pop off, especially because it's a little bit tight. So I'm using the Elizabeth Craft double-sided tape, which is pretty strong. It's usually people use it for like holding glitter, and so you know it's going to stick for sure, but score tape is also definitely a recommended one. And I used some double-sided pattern paper here rather than some cardstock, just because this particular paper is really super sturdy and a lot of my colored cardstock isn't as sturdy. And also because then it adds just a little fun element of interest, because when you fold over the score marks you see the other side of the pattern, and so it just adds a little something there. Now I'm going to be coloring Winston with the Inktense pencils. I haven't used them in a while on my channel, so I thought it'd be fun to share the technique again, share a few tips about how I use them. And as you can see, I've transferred them from the tin over to a pencil holder case because I've added a few more to my collection. I felt like there were a little bit of gaps in the colors here, and so I am first adding 2 different browns at one time. I like that rather than layering them on top of each other. One, because layering Inktense pencils is a little bit difficult. You really can't bring the pencil back to the paper once the paper is wet. When you have the wet paper and you want to add more color, what you would want to do is take your wet brush to the pencil and pick up color. So if I want a less solid coloring, I want to add both my colors at the same time. Like I don't want it to be a flat brown, but I want it to have like a couple different tones of brown in it. I prefer to add both colors at one time. I am using a Kuretake Zig water brush, but I don't have water in it because I like to be really controlled with the amount of water I add. However, I do really like the brush tip there. So I wound up purchasing a second one after I'd used my old one quite a bit. However, I think that they'll last for years because I'd had my old one for years and it's still good. I just picked this up because I had the opportunity at a good price. So I am trying to make sure that my shadows stay nice and dark for added contrast and to really bring out his features. And so if I blend out the color a little bit more than I want to, and I want to go in and add more color, as mentioned before, the best thing to do is to bring the wet brush tip to the pencil and pick up color off the pencil rather than try to add more directly to the paper. However, you can do that. I recommend you make sure it's a little bit more dry first, because Inktense pencil on wet paper doesn't turn out very well. So, give an area some time to dry before you come back. And again, as you see there, when I added it from the pencil with the wet brush, I got more color than trying to add it with the pencil. Inktense pencils are a little bit different than your average watercolor because they are permanent once dry. So they're really hard to move around if you've already added water to them. You really have to make sure that you like it before you move on to another area, because you're not going to be able to go back and fix it. Once I had my Inktense coloring finished, I decided to fussy cut out the image and add it with some foam tape, just a little bit, since this isn't something I'm going to mail anyway. I can add some dimension there. And I also took a Memento Tuxedo black marker and ran it along the edges. If you prefer to use something that is waterproof, that would probably work well too if you're worried that your image is still wet. But generally at that point, any old black pen or marker will do the trick. It's easier with a brush tip though. And then I added the sentiment. There's a lot of great punny sentiments in this stamp set, including "You're the bee's knees" and "Hey honey." And then I added a couple of the little bees around him, and since this is right here on the yellow paper, I don't have to even worry about coloring them. I did get a little bit of misstamping here where I didn't quite press down my bee as much as I could, and of course you can always go in with a black marker to fix up any little misstamping when you're stamping in black. And I thought about adding a little extra shimmer to my bees as well. Something like a Wink of Stella might be great for that, but I really wanted to just get this project done, and so I skipped out on that step, but that might be fun. Or glossy accents to the wings. I thought that would be another fun addition as well. But then I will tuck in my lip balm, and that is it for these projects today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are interested in more crafting tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel. This is part of the Newton's Nook Designs April release blog hop, so you can follow the link in the video description to my blog where you can enter for a chance to win this stamp set, and I will also link all of the supplies in the video description below. Thanks for watching. Bye.